It's your boy Jaystar back again with another video for you guys. We got the top 5 quarterbacks for the NFL Week 1 slate, y'all. So I'm gonna get right into this video with my first number 5 quarterback is going to be it's Matt Ryan, y'all. So got Matt Ryan here. I wanted to go, quarterbacks going against teams that give up really good, fantasy points based off of last season and things like that. Based off of also, the weapons that these quarterbacks have to go against these defenses that gave up good fantasy points to quarterbacks. So, Matt Ryan has a ton of options really now. Probably the weakest option on the team would probably be Mo Alley Cox at tight end. But other than that, talking about, Alec Pierce, they drafted second round receiver, Paris Campbell, Michael Pittman, and everybody knows Jonathan Taylor also can pass catch as a running back too as well. So a lot of good receiving, options to throw to in a, very high fantasy possible game for him. He could definitely end up having a good, crazy, amount of fantasy for 5,500 too is very cheap. I mean, even if he got you about 18 points, fantasy, but I could definitely see him getting to 20, range at least, even though Jonathan Taylor will probably get most of the rushing touchdowns in this game. But I can still see him passing about 2 touchdowns in this game, and possibly could get to 3 if the Texans end up giving him the ball too many times, like if they can't hold on to the ball long enough, and they're going 3 and out a lot. He can definitely pass for 3 or plus, touchdowns in this game. So definitely my number 5 quarterback has to be Matt Ryan. Just hits on everything, man, in this game with the options that he has to throw the ball to, and I just feel like the offensive scheme and everything for him should work. So at number 4 though, we have the quarterback in. Let's move it on a little bit up here, and Jalen Hurts. Got to go with Jalen Hurts, man. Here, I know last season, fantasy points. I mean, his fantasy points was good, but it wasn't because of the pass. The touchdowns that he had through the pass, only 17. Most elite quarterbacks is in the high 20s to even the 30s. Used to be even higher, but 30s to 25 and up, I would say usually makes you more of an elite quarterback. But I do now believe with his weapons with AJ Brown, still has Devontae Smith. Quez Watkins probably the most weakest talent on the team so far that I believe that he has in weapons. But also has Dallas Goddard, so and Miles Sanders, could become a pass catching back, but they have Gainwell too as pass catching. So I believe he has a lot of options. I mean, the Detroit Lions gave up a lot of fantasy points, to quarterbacks last year. So and they didn't really get any better defensively. So definitely feel like, with all the weapons that Jalen Hurts has, to throw to, could definitely get you about a 20 to 25, 30 range, fantasy points. Could have a point, a game like this. So very, very good quarterback to take, more in the pricier side, in the quarterback options though. But that is my number 4 quarterback on the slate. Then we have at number 3, got to go back down here a little bit here, and we have Wentz, Carson Wentz. Going against a team that gave up, very good fantasy points, to quarterbacks. Also, a team that he played 2 times last season, so one right here, as we see 13 points in the last game. I think the other one we can't even tell, I think because he's moved. Yeah. But, it's a team that he definitely can do really, really, really well against. He has a lot. I feel like coming from the Colts, weapons last season for them was very small. It was just Michael Pittman, I feel like, because T.Y. Hilton wasn't really a weapon. And at slot, it was, who was the guy? I forgot his name right now. But they had us, the slot receiver wasn't that good, over there that they had before. And then you still had, I think they still had Jack Doyle on their team last year, but he wasn't really used a lot. He was kind of banged up. So his receiving options last year was a lot worse than what he's going into now with Washington. You over here, you have Johan Dotson, new wide receiver, rookie. You have Curtis Samuel, as long as he stays healthy, very good option, very good weapon in the slot. Also, you have McLaurin, great option, as well as Logan Thomas. Just and a field of weapons, man. J.D. McKissick too, coming out the backfield, can catch. So I mean, going against Jacksonville, whose defense was pretty bad against quarterbacks and giving up tons of points to quarterbacks and stuff like that. I feel like with the weapons that he has this year, definitely could be more in the high 20s for this first game, the season and stuff like that, because he just has so many freaking weapons to get the ball to. And this, possibly, and it's supposed to be really probably a good shootout, possible game, things like that. High scoring game, I think, could be. But he definitely has the weapons to definitely compete if it is a shootout game and it is more like a 34-31 or something like that, or even just the high 20s and stuff like that. So number 3 quarterback definitely on the slate has to be Carson Wentz, y'all. Just tons of options all over the field for him. So then we have next up number 2 quarterback. Got to go to the top here, man. Justin Herbert. I mean, this guy's probably going for the MVP this year. Threw over 5,000 yards last season. 38 touchdowns, 15 interceptions. Not even really that bad. I mean, but I'm sure it can come down, this year. But going against the Raiders defense, they gave up tons of fantasy points to quarterbacks last season. They didn't really get any better, in the backfield, to stop the air attack against any team. So definitely, and then also being that, I mean, Justin Herbert has tons of weapons too as well. Keelan Allen, from the slot. We got Mike Williams finally playing a whole healthy season last year. Had an outstanding season. Always knew he could play that good. Just needed to stay healthy, and he showed it. Finally proved it to the world. But and also Joshua Palmer, who's going on his second year, should be an outstanding receiver for them. Playing number 3 receiver on the field for them, and then also now they got Everett at tight end. So tight end option, and then everybody knows Austin Eckler. Come on now, one of the best running backs, pass catching backs last year, was like the highest scoring running back, I believe, of the season. So definitely has multiple options going against a weak defense that gives up fantasy points to quarterbacks, and especially when you have multiple weapons the way he has weapons. So he definitely has to be on the list at number 2 here. Could definitely get you 31 fantasy points like he did in the last game against them. I believe the game before he had about almost 30 points too. He had 21 points the first time he played. But now with the Raiders having more weapons too on their side to compete, and put up more than 14 points, in a game, I think it's going to push him to have to, put up about 4 touchdowns or so, and some of them could be rushed, of course, but most of the time, with the Chargers, they're throwing their touchdowns. So I would definitely have to say Justin Herbert has to be number 2 on this list. It's the reason why he cost $7,600, because I mean he's definitely going to be worth it with all the options that he has this season, period, to throw to for the red zone, or just get him down the field with the yards, all that type of stuff. So definitely could see another possible 5,000 yard season, maybe 40 touchdowns, something like that. Like I said, he's probably going for the MVP this year. So definitely the number 2 option has to be Justin Herbert here for this first week slate. Number 1 though, number 1 option, y'all, has to go to Kyler Murray. I know his weapons are probably not as many, because of injuries, or not even injuries, but also because of suspension. His weapons is not as, full as some of the other, quarterbacks I have given up. But playing in one of the most, fast-paced games here, going against, Kansas City Chiefs, and when you play them, you're going to have to score. You're going to have to score. And more than likely, you're going to have to score through the air, so they gave up, what was it? I believe they're top 5 in fantasy points for the QB last season. After losing, the Honey Badger and the safety, and I know they got a couple, draft picks, cornerbacks, stuff like that, young cornerbacks, but definitely I really feel like you already know you're gonna have to air it out against this team. And being that he does have a new weapon, knowing Marquise Brown, I feel like could be even a better weapon than Christian Kirk was for him. But also definitely when he gets Hopkins back, we know he's going to be a very, very good quarterback to pick week in and week out. But definitely for this week, I have to say he's in the best, fastest paced game. He definitely has weapons. You still got Zach Ertz at tight end. You still have AJ Green. You also have Rondale Moore, who should be starting in the slot for this game at least. And just a lot of fast, talent out there on the field. And also you got Connor and Darrell Williams too from the Chiefs, but I think Connor, he was an elite, touchdown running back last year, for them. Like really in the goal line situation, this dude was running in everything, or you can pass catch him the ball too as well. And I feel like he will be more a part of the pass catching this season because Edmonds is gone and they don't really have an established pass catching back anymore. So definitely feel like, and also you got the running option with Murray too as well. So I definitely feel like, you got the rushing ability, you got the pass catching ability, the passing, ability for him. In a fast paced game, high scoring game, I see, because I really feel like Arizona defense isn't that good either. So I definitely feel like Pat Mahomes should be able to, throw some touchdowns against them with his new weapons too over there. But definitely this game could be in the high 30s, and definitely it's got to be, Kyler Murray has to be the number one quarterback because he just does it all out on the field and has, still multiple weapons too. Like I said, maybe not as many as the other quarterbacks I went over, but playing in the best game and one of the most proven quarterbacks too for fantasy, as we already know. And like I said, playing a team that was top 5 and giving up fantasy to quarterbacks. So I gotta say Kyler Murray is my number one back of this week. Hope this really helps y'all out. It's your boy Jaystar, and I'm out. Peace.